Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Well, we are in the fight. I tell you, first we got the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I tell you what, before I get started and just come hot loaded in here, I want to acknowledge all our folks that are in the house already and those that are joining the house. Thank you so kindly for being here at Politics Done Right. We have a lot to go over today. I want to welcome Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York, Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain, E2247 from all over. We have as well AVQ from Brooklyn, New York, as well as in the house we have, I'm scrolling down, Parvet. A lot of folks haven't registered in the chat yet, but please do so I can call you out. Lee Grant is in from Montgomery County. But anyhow, let's do this. Let's do this. I have 4 videos for you. Actually, I have more, but it's only probably going to be able to fit 4 of them in. So that's the only ones that I queued up. What we got is a Supreme Court that is unhinged. There used to be a thing called precedent. What it meant is that welcome aboard, Mike Cisak from Missouri. There used to be a thing called precedent. And what it meant is that we fought in order to keep a consistent nation. When other courts pass certain laws or affirm certain laws, unless there is a vast change in society that makes there be a solid reason for that law to change, that change does not occur. But when you have a minority that comes into power that says, I will change the laws the way we see fit, that creates an issue. You no longer have consistency. You no longer have continuity. And especially when done under minority rule. Welcome aboard, Stygen, Birken Creek. Where are you from? Let me call you up. Especially when you're doing it with minority rule. What do I mean by that, first of all? Barrett, he appointed Barrett, he appointed Gorsuch, and he appointed Kavanaugh. A president that didn't get the majority of the population. Welcome about Paul Fleming from Georgia, from Springs, Georgia. Anyhow, this guy was elected in 2016 by a minority. A fluke in our constitution made him president. And for that, he got to elect 3 Supreme Court justices. Powder Springs, Georgia is where our good friend Paul Fleming is from. This president, who has never garnered the majority of the American people, has appointed 3 Supreme Court justices. And these Supreme Court justices have decided to go against the will of the vast amount of Americans who have lived under the precedent of Roe v. Wade, who have lived under the precedent of Chevron, who have lived under the precedent of a presidency that did not need a Supreme Court to say, if you go out there and kill somebody, but you do it while you're president and you say you're doing it under the auspices of your office, it gives you immunity. That's what we got. A rogue Supreme Court that has told the president he can become a murderer as long as he do it as president, that women have no rights, that we the men control their bodies, and that when the Congress of the United States, which actually more closely represents the people, I didn't say fully, a little bit closer to representing the people, even though it's still partial, goes out there and tells those Congress people that when you write laws, if corporations don't like it and you don't specifically say it, we are going to overthrow that particular ruling. This is what you get when your party becomes weak, when your party tries to straddle two fences, when your party says, you know what? We are going to bring a knife to a gunfight. You know what? Since we still want money from the corporatocracy, we're going to try to hold back a little bit. And the corporatocracy say, yeah, we'll hold on to you so that you can hold on to those progressive peons and those other people as we, with minority rule, run the country and slowly take it away from you. And by the time you realize you've been had, there's nothing. There's nothing. So people, you got another chance. You got a chance to put people into office that's going to fix that Supreme Court. You got to vote to make sure you put people into office that are going to ensure that these fascists don't take control. Before I get started, let me go ahead and read some of the stuff from Michael Rudin and others. Michael Rudin says, AP, Supreme Court makes it harder to change Capitol riot defendants with obstruction charge Trump faces. The Supreme Court on Friday limited a federal obstruction law that has been used to charge hundreds of Capitol Hills. Let me tell you about that law. I read that on your own because we have a lot to cover. The Guardian, terrified and dystopian, the dark realities of the Supreme Court homeless decision. I didn't mention that one, right? Now, if you don't have a home and you make your home on some public land or public street, they can just kick you out. Keep running, baby, keep running. Read it. He has the links to it. And the one from Scudder's is just too long for today, Michael. The Daily Beast says Scudder's justices are mad with power after Chevron reversal. The Chevron deference established the 40-year-old precedent of giving deference to the expertise of federal agencies. I did a complete video on that from this morning. And what I'm going to go do right now, my brothers and sisters, is I'm going to put the video that I did at KPFT to explain Chevron, because I think it is apropos that people understand what Chevron is all about. So here is the video link. I was going to talk about it tomorrow. I may still do that, but there is where I talk about Chevron. Take a look at that. Oh my God, I am going to lose all. Let me see if I lost. I think I lost it, man. Let's see. Man, I think I accidentally lost I accidentally lost the chat, guys. I accidentally lost the chat. How did I do that? So all the chats, I'm going to lose the chat. So bear with me as I see if I can recover somehow. I don't think I can, but I'll try. I've lost the actual data that you guys put in the chat, my composite chat. So go ahead and repeat your post, guys. I lost the chat. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry I lost the chat. I should have it in two places. I think from now on I better do that. Because I accidentally hit the mouse and it went berserk on me. Has 37K people are all saying forget corporate media, still with the non-corporate sites. I recommended you. I appreciate you. It's important for us to go ahead and start looking into this. Okay, let's see. Lee Grant says, take a lot of left-wing political violence in France. We could see similar events here. I don't think so. And by the way, let's be clear here. The right wing got the most votes, 35% or 33%. But the left wings were right behind them, 28%, and other left wing groups, when you add them all up, it supersedes the right wing Le Pen's party. What is it called? They give it a rally, something rally. Okay, it does. So don't worry about that. The people on the right would want you to believe that the whole country is going right. It's not. It's not going right. What happens is more people on the right are coalescing together as a block. All right? Coalescing together as a block. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Got a lot of messages coming back again. Thank you guys for repopulating it. RYUPR, welcome. Oh, you're a bot. Let's see what else. Deb Denny, thank you so kindly for being here. And Maywood, thank you for being here. I'm going to start with the first video. The first thing I want to do is the debunking video on the debate, something that Biden was supposed to do, something that I think, I'll be honest with you, I think Biden is incapable of doing at this point in time. I'm getting upset more. I'll be honest with you guys. I am getting upset more so than I was right after the debate. And the reason why is when I'm hearing the sycophancy from the Democratic establishment, not even the Republican establishment, the sycophancy that I'm hearing from the Democratic establishment is completely pissing me off, and it should piss all of us off. I hate to use those words. Forgive me. But as I mentioned before, Republicans have given us a pathway for a landslide. And by doing the same stupidity that Democrats have always done, we are running the risk of taking this landslide from the municipalities all the way away, because we have the inability to be tough-minded and do things right. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm a little bit agitated today. Forgive me. I'm not always like this. Forgive me, but I am still staying positive, but forgive me. Here we go. What makes the debates so upsetting is the litany of lies that Donald Trump told were so easily and should be flowing off of the tongue of anybody that's running or that comes out there to challenge Donald Trump. And that is what we wanted to see President Biden do on Thursday. The litany of lies were easy to debunk, and you didn't have to spend all of the times debunking them. First of all, his staff should have done the following. Come out there and whenever for the lies, I had a better employment. No, my employment was this. Your employment was in the doghouse. And folks, go to Joe Biden or go to this independent website and see that right now. www.. Now, let me tell you what I'm going to do going forward. When it comes to crime rate, the migrant crime is skipped. I tell you what, before I go into this narrative, listen to how easily all the lies of Donald Trump was debunked in under 6 minutes. These large lies debunked in under 6 minutes. Something that Biden could do over and over and over again, especially in the format of this debate. Should have been prepared to do it in this debate, not timidly, but forcefully. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Let's start, Steve, with Donald Trump's claim about Joe Biden's record on jobs. Take a look.
The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Steve Ratner, what's the reality?
Donald Trump, rather, committed more than 30 lies during the campaign. Fact check. I don't know how to fact check. I didn't sleep with a porn star, so we picked some other things to talk about. This is a good place to start, which is jobs. And so this notion that the only jobs Joe Biden created were so-called bounce back jobs is ridiculous. So let me show it to you as clearly as I know how to do. So here are the job numbers before the pandemic. We had over 150 million jobs. The pandemic hit. Obviously, we lost a lot of jobs. We started coming back. And you can see that in June of 2022, so a year and a half into President Biden's term, we basically got back to the pre-pandemic level. So these are, you want to call these bounce back jobs, you can call these bounce back jobs. But here's what happened after June of 2022. We added 6.2 million jobs to this economy. And so these are jobs that were created unambiguously under Joe Biden's watch. And here's something even more interesting, which is the job creation of both President Biden and Donald Trump making the right adjustments for COVID. If you take out the impact of COVID, Donald Trump created 182,000 jobs a month on average. If you do the same thing for Biden, take out COVID, he created 276,000 jobs per month, so way more jobs per month than Donald Trump created. And by the way, more than were created under President Clinton, President Obama, and so forth. It's one of the strongest job creation records in history.
So there's also Trump's claim about the largest tax cut in history. Take a look at what he said.
What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on.
And Steve, what are the actual facts?
The actual facts is that Donald Trump's tax cut, sorry, I keep confusing. Donald Trump's tax cut is nowhere near as large, the largest in history. And you can see here some of the largest tax cuts in history. The famous Ronald Reagan tax cut of 1981. President Obama had 2 tax cuts during his watch. This tax cut, which actually was passed in 1964, we call it the Kennedy tax cut because he was trying for it. And here's President Trump all the way down here, Donald Trump all the way down here with the TCJA at 0.6% measured against GDP, which is the proper way to measure tax cuts. And then he talks about how he was ready to start paying down the debt. This is completely laughable. The deficit was actually going up even before COVID hit because of Donald Trump's tax cut. And so when you put it all together, Donald Trump added $4.8 trillion of non-COVID. Again, we're trying to adjust for COVID. $4.8 trillion of non-COVID debt to our national debt. Joe Biden has added $2.2 trillion of non-COVID debt to our national debt in roughly the same period of time. And so the deficit and debt record between these two guys is, again, not even close.
And one more thing, there were many, but we'll just do these. Donald Trump also had this to say about crime connected to immigration. Take a listen.
He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before.
Steve, what's the reality about the rat's nest that we are living in?
You know, Trump's ability to lie with a completely straight face and to say things that just are absolutely factually inaccurate without even blinking is quite amazing. So let's talk about overall crime first. First of all, and I'm using violent crime here as a proxy, but you'd see similar things at other kinds of crime. First of all, crime really didn't even go down much under President Trump. It went down a little bit, it went up. You can say this was COVID, but basically no change in crime. Under President Biden, here's what's happened to violent crime. It's gone from 398 per 100,000 people, the rate of crime, down 26%. 294. This is an extrapolation of what this year will look like if present trends continue. A huge drop in crime this year. And so the record on crime overall between these two guys, again, isn't even close. So he's talking also about migrant crime. Let's talk about migrant crime because this is something most people don't appreciate, which is that the rate of crime committed by both legal immigrants and undocumented immigrants is actually lower than that of U.S.-born citizens. So here is the crime rate for violent crime, a bit over 200 for U.S.-born citizens. It drops down for legal immigrants. And if you're an undocumented immigrant, you actually have one of the lowest crime rates. And among the reason for that is not that surprising in a way. If you're an undocumented immigrant, you don't want to get deported. You're pretty unlikely to commit a crime because that's not going to lead to a great outcome for you. But in any event, you see the same trends in property crime and in drug violations. Immigrants who come here, whether they're documented or whether undocumented, commit crimes at a lower rate than native-born Americans. That has been studied many times. This is a Texas study. You can find it anywhere else in the data. Those are the facts.
Now, you ask about the crime rate. Migrant crime is so bad. Donald Trump, do remember that the crime rate went up during your administration, and it is way down comparatively in my administration. And then as well, the migrant crime that you talk about is much less than immigrant crime, as well as the crimes of the United States citizens, which are the highest of them all. Please Let's be factual. Why don't you tell your people the truth, Donald Trump? When it comes to, I had the largest tax cut in American history. Biden could have said, you did not. By the way, folks, go to www.xyz.com and see what the real numbers are. But let's just give you some perspective. Both Obama and Reagan had much bigger tax cuts relative to GDP than Donald Trump, bar none. Okay, let's go to as far as inflation is concerned. Well, Mr. Trump, you are the ones who raised tariffs on China, which caused those particular products to increase in price. That's your doing, Mr. Trump. And likewise, Mr. Trump, you are the one who mismanaged COVID, which also instituted what we had as a supply chain problem because of the policies that you passed that allows all our jobs to go overseas, that allows all these other things to occur. So, I mean, it was an effective presidential candidate and a president that has the realms, that holds the reins of the country, should be able to go out there a mano and slight this guy. And that's why they came into the debate fearing. They thought that's what they were going to get. And they knew they would have lost if we had a Kamala Harris or we had a Gavin Newsom. They're doing it. I think we have to be very smart because, again, 51 million people. That was a huge loss. It doesn't matter what we do in these different campaign rallies going forward. Nobody's going to see that. Very few people are going to see that. Partisans see the rallies. Everybody was focused on that debate when we had 51 million people seeing 33% of the electorate. Unfortunately, I don't even think about a second debate because I can't see, and I am a supporter of my brother Biden because he saved this country. He passed great progressive policies, but it's always country first. Country first. The American people first. I don't see any possibility of a better debate. There is none. It's country first. Absolutely country first. We have to use our heads. The only way you combat Donald Trump whenever you are mano a mano with him is to really hit him hard. Again, the facts are the facts are the facts. And I know there are sycophants who are going to look at the numbers and throw their hands up in the air and still vote for Donald Trump, vote for their own demise. I can't help them. I can just use what they have to say to tell the truth. But there are a lot of people out there who just don't know. Most Americans just don't know. Most Americans that think they're MAGA, when they find out the truth, you would not imagine the 180. I've spoken to them. When they finally earn the trust in you and they say, oh, really? And then they finally go research on their own, they come back. Now, if you are some kind of a screwy person in your head that you show the numbers, you show that Donald Trump was a complete and utter failure. And you prove it like we just showed with the employment, with the inflation, with the crime rate line, etc. Once you show that, if you still want to go ahead and believe your thing, you can live in your alternate state of reality. But I am talking to the people who are listening. I'm talking to the people who have a mind. I'm talking to the people who can say, oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that. And I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn. That is what we're talking about. Now, there's a sycophant out there, another one, Burgum, just to show you how these people operate. Burgum is supposed to be Donald Trump's running mate. It looks like that's where they're coalescing on Burgum. And what he did, well, I don't have to talk it up. I can just go ahead and let you have the video. Here we go. Governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum, he is supposed to be Donald Trump's pick for vice president. That's what we think. Either him or a couple others are on the, may become that person. But I mean, there's this narrative out there. Biden, the senile guy somehow is also a dictator. I don't know, but that's what they say, right? But anyhow, he's a dictator. Burgum is suddenly in his state under the boot is on the neck of North Dakota. And there we have Burgum is trying to fight Biden because he's a dictator. And Donald Trump is going to come into office and fight because what has gone on under El Señor Biden is dictatorship. I love the way the host did Kristen handled this, right? And then his response made no sense, of course, because what he's trying to say pretty much is, well, I tell you what, listen to Burgum, listen to her pushback, listen to his response, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Going into 2024, I think both parties are going to be very focused on it. And I think this is the idea that this is the threat to democracy. As a governor in North Dakota today, I've been living under what I call the Biden dictatorship because of all the rules and regulations. Now, thank goodness for this Supreme Court that came out on Friday with the Chevron ruling, because maybe now we can put a stop to agencies actually creating laws that don't come from Congress.
Let me ask you about your comments about a dictatorship, and then I want to get back to this, because you say he's a dictator for passing all these rules and regulations. Biden's passed 139 executive orders. Trump had passed 169 at this point. And Governor, you as governor have passed 164. Does that make you the dictator of North Dakota?
I'm not trying to jam rules and regulations down on our state. Most of President Trump's executive orders were trying to get rid of red tape. Yeah. Joe Biden's actually creating a bunch of new, effectively, laws that are affecting our country.
Now, check this out, guys, and this is important, right? If you take a look at what he's saying when we pass these executive orders, we are doing, even though we are solely taking responsibility for these executive orders away from our legislature in the case of Burgum, away from Congress in the case of President Trump, when President Trump was the president. They are saying when they do it, it's okay. And by the way, at this point in time under Trump had passed quite a bit more executive orders than Donald Trump. Who's the dictator again? And of course, Burgum passed more executive orders than both of them. So let's be clear here. When they try to put these things on, this is a pushback that an active Biden should be coming out there and saying, absolutely not. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. And be very loud, just like Burgum and Trump and all these other sycophants are loud. But people believe them because, again, they are lying with conviction. We are telling the truth timidly. That is why we need a fighter. That is why we need somebody that can go toe to toe. And I tell you something, you watch somebody like our vice president, and you watch somebody like Newsom. I mean, those two have the wherewithal to go against and hit hard instead of a timid type of response, when what people are looking for is somebody that's going to defend them. Especially, again, if you take a look at what's going on with the Supreme Court giving immunity to Donald Trump. Partial, they're going to say, but they have laid the groundwork that if officially killing you, he did on official, if he killed you, and then he finds some official way to say this was under my official duty, immunity. Again, be careful what you vote for, because you may be voting for your own demise. In fact, that's exactly what many are doing, voting for their own demise. Check it out. Thank you very much for that image that we got from Brother Rudnin. I think it's Rudnin that gave me that. Yep. Here we go. It's amazing. They want to call Biden a dictator for passing 41, on an average of 41 executive orders per year. Trump is 55 executive orders per year, more than 30% more. Come on, man. The numbers, it's so funny that when I talk about Republicans projecting, that's exactly what I mean. Anything that they accuse you of, in general, those are the things that they are doing or they want to do. Think about it. When it comes to accusing you of anything, it is something that they are actually doing. So look, let's be clear here. Let's be very clear here. Bruce Pollard is in the house from Kingwood, Texas. Bruce, I started putting my mock system up together of what I'm going to be doing in Baltimore next week. I'm going to call you over later this week so we can do one of the shows. Maybe we'll do it on maybe Friday. Either Friday or Wednesday. I'm not sure which one yet, so that we can go ahead and play this stuff out before I pack it all down and set it up. Let's see. Theo, wow, we got 2 calls. Let's see. Okay. May I help you? You're calling Politics and Right.
Hi, am I calling Egberto Village?
Yes, you are. Would you like to make a comment, my friend?
Oh, Egberto. It's
Yes.
Roseanne.
How you doing, Roseanne?
Radiola. And I am a colleague.
Let me get rid of the echo. Hold 1 second, because we have a slight echo here. Let me get rid of the echo. All right, I think I got rid of the echo. How are you doing, Roseanne?
I'm good. Yes, you got rid of the echo. I'm a colleague of Patrick Lovell's.
Oh, great. Love Patrick. Patrick is a star in my book who has really shown what a whole lot of crap went on with the banking system.
Now, that banking system continues to fuel and reward the criminal element who give all those gifts to the Supreme Court.
Yes, they do.
Now, what we have to do, as you just mentioned, we cannot be timid. We have to fight, because the people united can never be defeated. We have to unite for what we're calling the Clean New Deal. All you have to do, go to X, follow my colleague, Patrick Lovell 1 on X. Follow him, share the truth. You're telling the truth. We're telling the truth. We all keep sharing it, and we usher in the Clean New Deal. Now, I'm going to end my call, and I'm going to finish listening to you, my friend. You're wonderful. Keep it up.
Thank you so kindly. Anyway, folks, yes, I think another call was coming in at the same time. Feel free to give me a call back at 281-823-7747. That is 281-823-7747. So anyway, as you see the link, let's see, can someone post a link to the page that was just mentioned? That is our good friend Patrick Lovell. Let me go ahead and see if I can find it on Twitter for you, and so I can put that link in there, because follow both Patrick and myself. Let's go ahead and find it right now. Patrick, I'm going to put that on the screen before I play the next video, but I want to get the next video. All right, let's go. Hello, Theodore. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Talk.
So, hold on. Let me turn off this thing. Hold on. Okay. So I have a question. If we, how could they even get rid of Biden at this point? I mean, if Biden decided to leave, wouldn't the Republicans put up a bunch of lawsuits trying to?
How can they do that? It's constitutional. Okay, it's constitutional. The party decides who's going to be on the ballot. Now, right now, there are delegates that are the only way we get into trouble if somebody.
At this point,
yeah.
I've been reading a bunch of stuff about how the Republicans are going to run a bunch of lawsuits in the states, and I don't see how they could do it, trying to hinder them from changing the ballot, saying,
okay, look, let me tell you, it's all, Theodore, it's all scare tactics. The Democrats it's early enough because our convention has not occurred yet. It is early enough. And I wrote an article yesterday. I probably need to write another one that shows a procedure for actually, based on constitutionality. I found an article earlier today because somebody else sent me an email after I wrote the thing about praising Biden and asking that we have all doors open for everything. The fact of the matter is this. I mean, I know it is painful. A lot of people think that would create chaos if somehow Biden says, you know what, I'm going to pass this on to the VP. And I tell you something, I don't think it is at all what people think. It's not 68. I also placed an article in my newsletter today, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, that goes to the Les Leopold article on 68. 1968 looks nothing like what's occurring right now in 2024. So those people who think, oh, when you have a contested convention, I'm not even talking about a contested convention. I'm talking about everybody in the background right now coming up to a consensus.
Well, it does seem like the American people are really begging for. It's not fair. It's not fair that Biden is carrying all this weight of the inflation that was really caused by the COVID. Because but a lot of people blame him for the inflation, even though.
Let me go ahead for the people. Theodore, can I interrupt you right there? I want to tell you that on our program, we definitively point out there is no debate about this. Our economic system is a fraud, and it's not Joe Biden that created inflation. Inflation was created entirely by corporate greed and corporate ineptitude. And I have written articles to justify every one of those statements. Go ahead.
Well, I wouldn't say entirely. Let's just say they took advantage of the shortages caused by, nobody could go anywhere on airplanes. So all of a sudden you had a shortage of, just for one example would be jet fuel. When you cut, jet travel by 60% for 6 months, nobody's making any jet fuel. And then all of a sudden, the economy explodes, and so there was a legitimate shortage, but I agree the corporate corporatocracy took advantage of it.
Brother Theodore, Brother Theodore, I need to interrupt you here, and I'll allow you to keep talking, but I need to interrupt you. We will not remove any blame at all from the corporatocracy. Let's explain. The corporatocracy is responsible for the supply chain problem. When they came with just-in-time inventory, what they did is they said, we will not maintain the inventory necessary to sustain whenever we have cataclysmic events, a pandemic, a hurricane, or whatever. That's not a government decision. That is a private sector decision. They also could have protected themselves, understanding that eventually people would start flying again and mitigate for that realization. We have to stop feeling a pain that we need not feel. The corporatocracy first responsibility is to its shareholders and the profits of its executives. Once you have that as your main concern, as the god of capitalism, Milton Friedman puts it, once you are worried solely about that, then that is your first concern, not the comfort of the American people, not the appropriate pricing for the American people, but to ensure that the only people that always succeed is our plutocracy. So I'm going to respectfully, and I say this very respectfully, tell you, inflation was caused 100% by the corporations. And I have a backing from a very important source, which is Dr. Economist Richard Wolff. Continue, my friend.
Well, at any rate, so the argument against dropping Biden is that it would cause a bunch of chaos. We're kind of in a rock and a hard space because he could come back, but he's got to play it perfect. And at this point, I guess either way, it's a gamble.
I don't see it as a gamble at all. Let me tell you why.
I think that, yeah.
Let me tell you why. The Democrats are demoralized because they love Biden, but they see Biden as somebody who dropped the ball. And it's, I mean, again, 81-year-olds age differently. Read my article for my show this morning. Look at Fauci, look at Bernie Sanders, and look at Biden. You know what's true about that? All three of them are octogenarians.
I think Biden is doing a good job too. The problem was that just that one night, it went into all the.
Okay. I feel you. I love Biden myself. I love Biden. Okay. I am a Bernie guy that loves Biden. Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. But any rate, whenever I started talking with you, I get on further afield. But the point is, wouldn't it be okay? So the upside is, I think the American people would love a younger candidate. They don't want Trump, and unfortunately, they don't want Biden. And if we got somebody else, but the polls say that if we got that guy from California or the woman from
the vice president,
Michigan, maybe the vice president too. I'm a little bit concerned about her. Yeah, and she would obviously be the one that could use all the money. She would probably get black women on her side. I don't know.
Let me tell you who she'll get on her side, sir. She wouldn't only get black women. Mm-hmm. You know, people still think that the vast majority of Americans vote black or vote white or whatever. They vote right now, as I've noticed.
My experience has been that I was surprised when Hillary was running at how much anti-female headwinds I would run into. Exactly.
And what's going to happen with Harris is not going to be running as a black woman. Harris is going to be running as a woman, and that is going to cauterize all the women who are scared about losing their birth control, IVF, and other things. She's just not running, so that isn't there.
She's half Asian too. Yeah,
exactly.
Asian, and that might bring back the Arabic vote. And yet
now, we have to stop being scared.
Say nice things about.
Yeah, Theodore, we just need to stop being scared, and we need to go out there and do it. That's it. We need to stop being scared.
We can win either way.
Right. But anyway, I need to go to two more videos, Theodore, and I really, really appreciate you calling in. We may disagree on inflation.
Okay,
but ultimately,
thanks for letting me rant.
Okay. Oh, this is your show, sir. This is your show as well, my brother. All right. Let's go with the other video that I need to play real quickly, and then we'll continue. So let's go ahead and do that right this minute. Remember how many times I said that Republicans have laid the foundation for a Democratic landslide. Democrats right now are scared because the president had a horrendous performance in the debate, and it is something we don't know that for him is actually recoverable. So we're scared. Democrats are scared. But you know what? The pathway is still there for a Democratic landslide from municipal to state to federal. We hope Joe Biden take a full assessment of what's going on to decide what's best for the country. But I tell you what, forgetting about the top of the ticket, all the way down, everybody needs to be singing the same tones, because listen, watch this with El Senor Doug Burgum, who just changes their mind to support the policies of Donald Trump, policies that Americans don't want, and policies that they know if they tell the truth about what the Supreme Court has allowed President President Trump would do, policies that will allow the corporations to really screw every American citizen. All these things are laid out. The Chevron movement, you can't express it as Chevron to people, but you can also show how it all ties in. That if these guys take power, the Supreme Court is there to allow them to screw you. Here's one more item with Burgum and his words catching up with him, that he changed his core belief to that of the right-wing machine, who is intent on really changing it all. Check this out.
I want to play something that you said about abortion when you were running for governor in 2016.
When you outlaw the ability to terminate pregnancies and make it illegal, it just makes it unsafe for some of the most vulnerable people in the world. Young women who are scared, who are afraid, who are in a spot, that they don't want to be in. America was an unsafe place for women before Roe versus Wade.
Just to put a fine point on what you said there, you said America was an unsafe place for women before Roe versus Wade. So by your own standard, Governor, is America unsafe for women as a result of Roe being overturned?
No, it's not. And of course, this is something that should have been returned to the states.
So you've evolved in that, and you're thinking in that, because you said right there, it was unsafe for women before Roe was in place.
Well, let's be clear. That was a comment from over 8 years ago. And certainly I've evolved in that position, but part of it I've evolved is that I understand that it's important that what North Dakota, as a very pro-life state, different than even our neighbor Minnesota, the states are going to be different. And I have been clear that I'm opposed to a federal abortion ban. I'm aligned with President Trump on that. And this is something that has to be left to the states.
But I'm just to be very clear, how and what changed your mind? Why did you think it was unsafe before Roe v. Wade, and why not now? Is it because you're looking to be the vice presidential nominee to Donald Trump?
Not at all. I think you know, and everybody else knows that CARE has evolved during that period of time. And I think that we can accomplish both of those goals. We can make sure that we're protecting and honoring life, but making sure we're also delivering against maternal care. And that's going to handled best at a state by state level.
So yes, he got caught, right? In many different things. All these Republican sycophants are being caught as they are forced to follow the Project 2025 narrative. That 2025 narrative is that project that will take away women's rights, that will take away all the rights earned by all citizens, not just what people like to call the minorities. Every citizen, your rights are on the table. The corporate state, the fascist state, is by definition Project 2025. And you put these guys in, that's what you got.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutely. So we have one last video we have time for. It's a short one. Let's go ahead and play that, and then we'll get back with you. Kristen Walker from Meet the Press had a lot of ammunition for VP wannabe Doug Burgum, from governor of North Dakota. This time it had to do with an interview that he did with Chuck Todd, where he talks about always telling the truth and believe in being truthful. Remember, this is the same guy who also told Chuck Todd that he would want to have nothing to do with Donald Trump because, you lie with dogs, you sleep with fleas, right? Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Governor, let me just ask you about the debate and a little bit more of what we saw. By one count, Donald Trump made more than 30 false claims during that debate. I want to play something you told my colleague Chuck Todd on this broadcast last year. Take a look.
You ever lied in politics?
No.
That you know of? You don't believe you've ever lied?
No.
You feel like you've always told the truth as you understood it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I was raised, and that's how I've gone forward.
As someone who is on Donald Trump's shortlist to be his vice presidential nominee, do you think he should stop saying things that are not true?
I think that the whole manufactured thing this morning of that Donald Trump has said something that he hasn't said before. I mean, everything that he said on Thursday night, he's been saying before. I mean, so this isn't.
But this is not manufactured.
This is not news.
But this is not manufactured, Governor. I mean, just to say a few, he said that Democrats want to kill infants after birth. That's not true. He again lied about widespread fraud. Not true. He lied about its comments after Charlottesville. Should he be truthful with the American people if he wants to lead this country? Well, especially given what you just said, that you never lie. That's your standard, Governor.
Well, I think you bring up an important issue.
So, yeah, I mean, here he is going out there and talking about truth. When asked about what about all those lies that Donald Trump talks about? Do you feel comfortable about that? He refuses to answer. He changes the subject. He just shows the hypocrite that he is. That's what we have with Trump's sycophants and with the Supreme Court giving these guys immunity. God help us if they ever get into power. They represent a clear and present danger. Anyway, folks, we are at the end of the program. We are at 55. Anybody wants to call in and say something quickly, give us a call, 281-823-7747. One more time, 281-823-7747. We have a bunch of listeners on Twitter. Please go ahead and go. Well, not as many as I thought, but anyhow, go ahead and sign up at. Go ahead and follow us if you're on Twitter. If you're on Twitter right now and you're streaming us, click on follow. Make sure that the next time we're streaming, you get a little notification that we're streaming, which we stream twice a day on Twitter at least. Look, we are in some difficult times. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to read all your text today, but I want to at least salute everybody that's here. So I want to say, let me go ahead and put what Bridge wants something on the screen. So let me get it there real quickly. Where is it? I'll put it on the screen real quickly for Bridge. Here we go. It's on the screen. It says, Supreme Court of the United States, Donald Trump petitioner, Justice Sotomayor with Justice Kagan. And I'm going to read the part she has in yellow. Because our Constitution does not shield a former president from answering for critical, criminal, and treasonous acts, I dissent. And previously she said nobody's above the law. Take it out. It's on the screen right now. Let's see what else I need to say here. I want to welcome everybody that I didn't welcome before. I'll go ahead and read those notices a bit later. I'm a bit frazzled today because I had to put all these videos together. And at the same time, just watching the news and all the things occurring, I realized how much work we have to do. So here is my positive note for today. We don't need to be scared. We don't need to be afraid. What we need to do is talk to our brothers or sisters or families or friends or acquaintances and just tell them the truth. Let them know what's going on. Talk to them about Chuck Panaccio. Great to see you. I'll see you in Baltimore next week, Chuck Panaccio. Let them know. Let them understand your rights are will be taken away from you for what again? For corporate royalty and for the royalty of the rich. And even those who are voting MAGA, they're voting for their demise. They just don't realize it because they are encroached in this white liberalism or this white sycophancy that they believe that somebody is coming to take what's theirs. The only people that have taken what's theirs has always been the plutocracy. And they don't see it. But you know what? I believe in having this one big family. When I talk about uniting the ghettos, the barrios, and Appalachia, all of us of America, the working class, the middle class, the poor. Because it's just that select few that's pilfering us all. And we have to get it. We got to get it into the heads of enough people. So please, if you are just listening to us for the very first time, or have you listened to us several times and have yet to, let's say, support the program, I want to ask you kindly and respectfully to to become a paid subscriber of our newsletter that informs you of what's going on. You can go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. It's less than a coffee a month. Think about it. Less than a coffee. If you saw me in the streets, if you saw anybody here in the streets, you would say, hey, we can do a coffee to make sure that this kind of information stays available to us all, to make sure the truth can come to us all. Consider it. Consider becoming a paid subscriber. And if you prefer doing it in some other manner, consider doing the following. Become a Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon, or support and find all the ways to support us at politicsdoneright.com/support. But again, become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. I think you'll find it quite informing and quite interesting. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know